Hello everyone, I am Minaya, and today we are going to review some of the most common word reductions in Spanish. These kind of words have different names, depending on whether they add, remove, or change sounds in a word. And all of them are called metaplasm or metaplasmo in Spanish, but today we are not here to review complicated grammatical terms. Today I'm going to teach you the most common word reductions in Spanish and how we use it in everyday Spanish. And also we are going to see some examples so you guys can understand how we use these words in everyday Spanish. So let's get started. Let's start our video with the verb estar. This is a really common verb, so you definitely need to know this word. And for this verb, we use to delete the first half of the word, so we tend to delete the s. Now we don't do this in all the conjugations, but it's really common to do it in indicative present tense, so we say estoy, estás, estamos, and so on. For example, estoy jugando, I am playing. ¿Estás comiendo? Are you eating? Está bien. It's okay. As you can see, we can do this with all the pronouns in indicative present tense, and we can even do it in past tense. For example, estaba comiendo. I was eating. Tuvo buena la peli. It was a good movie. Another verb is the verb esperar. And as it happens with the verb estar, we don't short this verb in all its conjugations, but here are the most common ones. So, espérate becomes espérate. Espérame becomes espérame, and espera just becomes pera. As you can see, we tend to short this word, especially in imperative mood, but we don't do it in all the conjugations. So you can play with this, and using the imperative mood, you can say pérese, pérenme, and those kind of things. Now let's continue with the preposition para. This word is really interesting because you can even do contractions with the next word. For para, we tend to short this word as pa. For example, para allá becomes pa allá. Para arriba, pa arriba. Para abajo, pa abajo. Para ti, pa ti. Para acá, pa acá. So as you can see in this case, we don't only short the word para, but we also short the next word and create a contraction. Now let's see some adverbs. Ahora, hora. Ahorita, ahorita. Entonces, tonces, or tons. Nada más, no más. Examples. Ahora no voy a ir. I'm not going today. Ahorita lo checo. I'll check it in a few moments. Entonces, ¿qué vamos a hacer? So what we are going to do? Compra 5 manzanas no más. Buy 5 apples only. For these examples, I'm giving you the translations that shows the context in which we use these shortened words. Because the word entonces, it also means at that time, but we don't actually use tonces or tons with that meaning. Or at least in my personal experience and in the place I live, we don't tend to use it that way. And also, nada más can mean nothing more or nothing else. But if we want to say, there is nothing more delicious than rice pudding, here nothing more works in a different way, so we don't actually say no más in this situation. So we translate this sentence as, no hay nada más delicioso que el arroz con leche. So as you can see, the word no más has more the connotation of just or only, so we don't short this word to no más in all the situations. The next word is the conjunction pues. Pues works similarly to because or for, meaning that we can use it when starting sentences to justify or explain something. But since word reductions are way more common in informal or colloquial language, we don't actually tend to use the shortened version pues with the meaning that I just told you. Because since pues can be used as a more formal version of because, not in all the situations, but it can be used that way, then using pos in this kind of situations will sound strange because it will sound like a mixture of formal and colloquial language. So in which situations it is common to use the version pos? The word pos is actually more like a filler word, but we can also use it like to justify something or even sound more relaxed about what we are saying. Actually, it's kind of like a different word and not just a shortened version of pues. Let's see some examples. ¿Por qué no fuiste? Why didn't you go? Pues estaba cansado. I was tired. Here the word pues conveys more the idea that it is obvious that you were tired, or it sounds like a justification. So it doesn't mean that it is an excuse, but it conveys the idea that you are giving an explanation of something that in this case sounds already obvious, and you don't sound too direct this way. ¿Por qué no me dijiste? Why didn't you tell me? Pues no sabía. I didn't know. Here again it sounds like a justification, and depending on the context, This word can even make you sound like if you are not really convinced about what you are seeing. Because if someone asks you, ¿Te gustó el helado? Did you like the ice cream? And you answer, pues sí, it sounds like if you say, yeah, I think. So as you can see, this word can have different nuances depending on how you use it. And before finishing our video, let's talk about the last group of words, in this case, apocope. And the characteristic of these words is that they delete the last part of the word. And also most of these words are nouns, so it's going to be really easy to memorize them. Por favor, porfa, or even porfi, but this is like a more cute version of the word. Fin de semana, fin de. Computadora, compu. Película, peli. Televisión, tele. Bicicleta, bici. Motocicleta, moto. Fotografía, foto. Profesor, profe. Profesora, profa. Preparatoria, prepa. Secundaria, secu. Universidad, uni. Matemáticas, mate, or mates. Refrigerador, refri. Cerveza, chela. Refresco, chesco. It is really common to use many of these words in its shortened form. So for example, words like photo or tele, that using the complete version of the word can sound too long. Or words like profe or profa sounds more friendly and more natural in everyday school conversations. It's not that saying profesor or profesora is bad, because it is absolutely correct, but in everyday conversations, especially if you use these words really often, it might sound too long or more formal. So I don't recommend you to use the shortened version of words all the time, unless you want to sound really colloquial, but I give you these words and examples because these words are really common, and if you ever listen to them in a conversation, then now you are going to understand way better. So that's everything for today, my friends. I hope you enjoyed the video. I strongly recommend you to give a like to this video and leave a comment. And remember that if you have any suggestion or question, you can write it in the comments down below. So hope you guys have a marvelous day and see you in the next video. Bye bye.